Today we'll be taking a look at an average coming-of-age movie for a female in France. F Me, a hyper-sexual, hyper-violent girl boss movie directed by former adult film stars, featuring adult film stars. A movie that takes some of the sick and twisted aspects of the dark underbelly of life and flips it all on its head when two people decide that they'd just rather not. Written and directed by Virginie Despentes and Caroline Trinthi, F Me asks the question, what's going on in the average French person's mind? Beginning in a pub with a woman named Nadine, she's surrounded by nothing but horrible men as she can hear guys blatantly and openly talking about women in horrific ways, while another man treats his partner and mother of his child worse than if she was a piece of rubbish stuck to the bottom of his shoe. You might think that this is a clear and obvious statement towards the way men can treat women, but what this actually is a reminder that this movie takes place in France. And speaking of evil mythical creatures, today's sponsor has plenty of them. This year marks the 6th anniversary for the game with an endless amount of content to enjoy that's played by 5 million different players each month, that's not only available on mobile, but also on PC too. And to celebrate its 6 years, not only has Raid had huge quality of life updates like background battles, but Raid is giving away all sorts of content to new players, meaning that upgrading heroes to 6 stars has never been easier. Using my link below, you'll get access to the hero Zargala for free, plus other goodies with a total value of $60 to help new users kickstart the game. There's also legendary Void Champion Supreme Garlic. Use the Anniversary Edition promo code SUPREME6 or pick from 4 other promo codes for legendaries of your choice. There's Supreme Garlic using the code SUPREME6, or Sun Wukong using code MONKEYKING, Alice the Wonder using code GETALICE, or Loki the Deceiver using code GETLOKI. But that's not all that's on offer for you, for both new and existing players can also redeem up to 4 additional promo codes. Code Gameleap will get you 1 full energy, 10 XP brew, and 100k silver, which is available until August 25th. Code PP500 will get you 50 multi-battle attempts, 200 energy, 400k silver, and 500 Plarium points. Using code YearlyGift will get you 10 XP brew, 1 rank 4 chicken, 50 multi-battle attempts, 100 energy, and 500k silver. And code 1MGIFT will get you 1 full energy, 2 rare skill tomes, 3 rank 3 chickens, and 300,000 silver. So if you're like me and are always looking for something to do when you've got a little bit of spare time, Raid Shadow Legends is the perfect choice. So why not start today? Make sure you download by using my link below or scan the QR code on screen so that you can redeem your codes and find me in the game. Nadine, seemingly having enough of the in-house entertainment, decides to head home for some of her own entertainment in the way of watching graphic movies in her living room before being interrupted by her housemate. Something which doesn't seem to cause her to feel shame or embarrassment, in fact quite the opposite, as she tells her housemate that she's going to finish off what she's doing whether she's in the room or not, unbothered by the fact that she may have just acquired an audience. And after being introduced to one of our charming lead roles, we're then unfortunately quite horrifically introduced to our next one, as we see a woman named Manu having a beer with her friend on a park bench, when unfortunately the anti-fun police arrive and decide to kidnap them both. And this is where one of the movie's gimmicks comes into play. As this movie is created by and featuring adult film stars, all of the scenes involving that type of content are completely unsimulated, with it going out of its way to show you just how real it really is, by making you wish you sprayed holy water directly into your eye sockets. As both of the women are beaten and forced to remove their clothes, they're then by these strange creatures known as French people. Manu doesn't fight back because she's well aware of what will happen to her if she tries to resist. All the while, her friend is continuously kicking and screaming at the top of her lungs, resulting in her receiving even more of a vicious beating, with it doing nothing to stop the vile acts of these men. And once the men are done with these women, they leave them there in a disgusting abandoned factory as Manu sits there in silence as her friend is breaking down in tears. The friend proceeds to ask Manu why she didn't try to fight back and how she could let those men do those things to her, with Manu saying that one way or another they were going to get what they wanted, and at least this way, they both managed to make it out alive. With her then giving the rather unfortunate impression that this isn't the first time that something like this has happened to her, as we then see her try to bottle it all up and act like it's not a big deal, while trying to minimize what just happened between her and her friend. After being irreversibly and forever damaged, thank you for that, We then see how the French like to spend their free time, beating up minorities. Manu watches as a group of men chased after her friend Redouan and corner him in an alleyway before stomping on his skull for old time's sake. After hearing the sound a human head makes while it's being repeatedly squished against the concrete, she attempts to intervene to try and get the men to stop before her brother appears and takes her away from the gangsters as they do their various gangster-adjacent activities. After being taken back to his home, he notices the bruises on her and quickly deduces what's happened to her by internally mansplaining to himself. He retrieves his gun and starts demanding to know where the men are, which then causes the pair to start to argue. In retaliation to a deeply hurt and extremely traumatized victim daring to try and argue, he tells her that she doesn't look traumatized at all and that she's a With the S word apparently being a big no-no around here, Manu then picks up his gun and kindly redecorates the walls with the interior of his cranium. And while Manu is busy making a mess all over the place, we then see Nadine as she's once again being hassled by her housemate for kinda just being a dirty lowlife. Which yeah, fair enough to be honest. But as the pair begin to argue, just as they seem to do every day, Nadine decides that she's had enough of hearing this woman yap, so instead strangles her to death. A simple enough compromise, I suppose. And after Nadine is showing off her Brazilian jiu-jitsu moves on a poor defenseless woman, she does what any self-respecting person would do in this situation. Go and hang out with her best friend and forge some prescriptions. And as she's doing that, without a single care in the world for the act that she's just committed, once her friend leaves to go and cash the unlimited drug glitch, he's killed in the street by an unknown assailant, where he does this really weird roll down a car. Rest in peace, Nadine's best friend. You will be missed. After leaving, because that's kind of unfortunate, she then crosses paths with Manu for the first time, as they're both attempting to catch a train out of there, but are too stupid to realise that there aren't any. So both wanting to go to Paris, just like the Rugrats in that one movie, they decide to drive there instead. And in a symbol of their newfound friendship, while already being driven to where she wants to go, Manu pulls a gun out on Nadine and tells her she wants to go to the seaside. I don't know, maybe they've just got really good fish and chips there or something. Seemingly unfazed about having a gun pointed at her, Nadine accidentally lets onto the fact that she's secretly a goonette, as she tells Manu that she recognises her from previous adult films she's made. And after making it to the beach and taking in the smells of salt water, rotten seaweed and piss, Manu tells Nadine that if she wants she can take the car and go wherever she wants with it. But Nadine, already being established as someone who makes very smart and sensible decisions, decides to instead stay with the woman who just pulled a gun on her, where they proceed to share a hug. And what do you do with your new best friend who pulls a gun out on you so they can go to the beach? Dance in your underwear, you know, girl stuff. Once they're done being young and free or whatever it is they're doing, they then decide to rob a woman after watching her input her PIN at an ATM machine. But not only do they rob this woman of her money, they also rob this woman of her life, as for some reason they decide to evacuate her brains in the process. And after emptying this woman's head and the contents of her bank account, they then talk to each other about how it made them feel. Nadine says that at first it made her feel really sad and that she wanted to cry about it, but shortly after felt the excitement of it and wanted to do it again. Like heroin. And it's not like there was really much of a story going on before this happened, but from here on out, the rest of the movie is just essentially these two boss-babying it up and committing horrific crimes for no other reason than, I guess, they just felt like doing it. Manu explains that they need to, quote, catch some guys in order to not think about what they've done, and what she means by that is go to a bar and take men back to their hotel room and sleep with them. Entirely unsimulated, of course, because, you know, plot reasons. Their crime and sex spree continues, with them stealing a car from a drunk man and running him over in the process, causing his internal organs to rupture, before deciding to drive to a gun store to get Nadine something as well. And while in there, talking to the worker and keeping him distracted, Manu sneaks in behind them and pulls out her gun, causing the guy, who runs the gun store by the way, to pull out his own gun, resulting in the pair of them filling him with bullets, as now they're both armed. And after turning that man into SpongeBob with the amount of holes now in his torso, the women decide to go out and have some more fun, which to be honest is a rather accurate description of literally everything else that happens in this movie. After heading to a casino and deciding the person they next want to target, they get the attention of a man before taking him back to their room. And after having the man away from the eyes of the public, Manu proceeds to berate and make fun of him for thinking that they were going to use a condom because being safe is a terrible idea. And to show him just how much she likes his idea, she then proceeds to puke all over the man, while Nadine thinks it's absolutely hilarious. Upset that he now has the contents of the this woman's dinner all over his legs, he calls the pair a few not very nice words before attempting to leave, something which Manu doesn't seem to be the biggest fan of, as she then proceeds to headbutt him and knock him to the ground, followed by both of them stomping him to death while wearing their high-heeled shoes. After getting a really good leg workout in the night before, the next day, while in a different hotel, Nadine proceeds to play with various different guns in the bathroom, aiming them at random people on the street and posing with them in the mirror as if they're nothing more than toys, which they almost are to these two, as both of them just seem to be playing a game and having fun without seemingly caring about the real-world ramifications of the things they're doing, shown by their reaction to reading the newspaper that have begun reporting their crime spree. They don't take it all too seriously and joke about how the sketches look nothing like them because apparently the French people are really bad at art, something which causes for celebration, and celebration the only way that these two know how to: man murder and man meat. After 360 no-scoping a man for propositioning them for sex, they arrive at an expensive hotel with bags full of shopping paid for with the money of their victims, something which isn't really that bad if you think about it. It's not like a dead person can spend money. Nadine seduces the minimum wage employee behind the desk later that night, while Manu heads out to find a man for herself, where surprisingly neither of them kill their man of choice this time around and instead engage in some late night drunk driving together. A fun little pastime, sure, but a dangerous one at that. So with that in mind, there were to be no witnesses left behind, and after being pulled over by the police, the pair proceed to alleviate the local police force's budget a little bit by removing the wages of 2 employees before picking up a woman who was also being questioned by the police. A woman who I can't tell if she's just extremely stupid or extremely scared. After having one of the officer's strawberry jam thrown into her face, the woman proceeds to willingly get into the car of these 2 killers, where she then takes them back to her house, instead of, not doing that. It was a while ago where I stopped trying to understand the logic of these characters, but it was here where I started to find the entertainment in the pure stupidity of them. And after arriving at the house with the woman and her boyfriend, Manu and Nadine reveal that they don't really have a plan, and they're just going to continue doing what they're doing until they can't do it anymore. So the girlfriend and boyfriend decide to use this to their advantage by telling them about a person they don't really like. No backstory, no motive, just "we don't like this guy, please go and horrifically kill him," is exactly what the pair proceed to go and do, as after they trick the man into allowing them into his house, they then force him to open the safe at gunpoint before executing him. And after sitting down in his garden to casually examine the diamonds they stole from him as they eat his chocolate, they then decide to go and celebrate their recent victory by showing up at a swingers bar. And once they arrive, Nadine takes a look around the place to see what's on the menu, followed by everything immediately going wrong. One of the men there attempts to touch Manu, causing her to attack him, resulting in both of the women pulling out their guns, followed by them unloading on literally everyone in the building, with some of them quite literally being caught with their trousers around their ankles. Great, now there's even more stinky holes on display. Manu then makes the man who tried to touch her act like a pig, before putting the barrel of her gun up his backside and pulling the trigger, revealing the secret way to make pulled pork. After leaving, Manu decides to rob a gas station for even more fun, as Nadine waits in the car. But while Nadine is sitting back and relaxing, she hears a shot come from the building. Running in, she shoots the clerk armed with a shotgun, before finding Manu dead. She yeed her last ha. Really sad about this one death, and not the dozens of others that she's literally directly responsible for. Nadine does a little cry over Manu's dead body, before taking her to a lake and getting her necrophilia on by giving her a little kiss, before cooking her well done. And as she's done inhaling all of the Manu smoke she possibly can, she sits down by the lake to end things for herself, when suddenly she's apprehended by the police, who have finally managed to catch up to her. So before this video comes to an end, I'd like to just give a big thank you and a massive shout out to all of the YouTube members and patrons. The people who every month go out of their way to continuously support the channel to make sure that these videos can continue. If you're interested in becoming a YouTube member or a patron yourself, not only are you just generally being a great help, but you also get access to a few little perks, like being able to join the private Discord server, where you can then get links to all uncensored versions of videos going forward. So starting off with this week's new YouTube signups, a massive thank you to Derek Drop, Celogram, Robert Joseph, Callum Davis, Pinku Nikki, username Timmy, Tanner Newman, Zach Stevens, Brenda O, Rizardo, Ali, Iman, Caitlin Dexter, Michael Amondi, Hinterus, Dennis, Jamie, Difficulty Spike, Trevesta 100, KST, Zane Munro, NexM, Panda Panda, Jordan Parker, Marius Hawkland, Fundy25, Jesse Holcomb, Di Shipton, Javi Lazada, Shirmakofa Babora, Jiblisly Lassier, Isaiah Davis, Justin Parry, The Last Final Girl on the Left, Hollyhock Kendrick, Reggie David Weslingerie, John Hates the Stupid, Tournier, Laughable Genius, The Soldier 420, Dende Looking Boy, LS Fade, James Haddon, Julia N, Luke Finn, Zaza Lord, Mai, Bugsy04, Why Up Its Vibe, T-Wev, and Michelle LeBeur. Now making my way over to this week's new Patreon signups. A massive thank you to Superfly Cat, Salid Gade, Kevin Matty, Randon Zens, Matt Forsyth, Unreal, Iman Gillespie, Salayak Johnson, The Fake Eden, Zulu2468, Dai Rashushni, Halfwit Hunter, Delar, Shin Van Revels, Tring, Peter Shoes, McMaxie, Doobs, Caden Miller, Mikey, Nathan Blake, Leela, Nana James, Lamandred, Jiggles, B, Sidian Craft, Tristan, Ryan Gibson, Emily Smith, Poopbutt, Brandy Garza, Johnny, Cherry, Josie Machina, Simon Wasser, Daniel Brostrom, Millard Fillmore, Mavic, Bodie, Lord Bale, Serap Jones, Robo Pepco, Vaneltas, Martia, Scarlett McAuliffe, 91184, Eden Wilcock, and SNK Dim. So once again, a massive shout out to all of the YouTube members and patrons, and a big thank you to everyone else for watching.